just stop. Here's Ross, the host with today's dose of common sense.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Everybody's all right? Yeah? Okay. Hey, we're back. It's the day after Thanksgiving. How are you? I got all kinds of things in front of the camera. I really need to work on my, production stuff. But I have this over here so that you can see this thing right here. Boom. Hey, look at that. That's a Tascam Mixcast 4 podcast production workstation. I think is the full title of the thing. But yeah, hey, you got faders for all your channels. You got stuff. You have all kinds of things. You have sound pads. I can, myself whenever if I want to start calling you a stupid like that. So anyway, there's all kinds of things you can do with it. I haven't done anything with it. It's still factory default, except for the fact that I added some things to the microphones. So I can do 4 microphones at one time, but I can also take call-ins. You can call me on my phone, and I can plug it right into the podcast. I can do the same thing from Bluetooth if I want to Bluetooth my phone in or whatever. But it's pretty cool. It's another acquisition. It even lights up showing that it's recording. So I can record it locally here and recording it on the computer. So I have the redundancy that I'm looking for, and I also have some equalization and some processing and stuff that I can put into the mix before it gets to the computer. And I'm hoping that might alleviate some of the synchronization issues that we have. I have another thing coming that should be here next week, but shh, don't tell anybody, because I'm not buying any more audio equipment. I am, but I'm not. Just don't tell anybody. So anyhow, that's what I wanted to show you with that big ass thing sticking in front of the camera. So there we are. And here's the normal background, and here's me not shilling for Rode, because Rode does not run my podcast. I have no affiliate links. I get no support. I'm not sponsored. I have nothing going on with my podcast. So it's all just on me. So all this cool stuff I keep buying right out of my own pocket, which, that's the way it should be. So in the interest of full disclosure, Tascam Rode, Shure, because that's my other microphone that I'm currently using, is a Shure SM58. That's going to be for the other person who's going to be on my podcast soon. But, yeah, none of them are sponsors. Logitech, who does all my cameras. I got all my cameras from Logitech. Well, I didn't get them from Logitech, but they're all Logitech cameras. I tried using my Nikon D5000, which is not intended to be used as a webcam. It doesn't even have a video out thing. It doesn't have a setting for that. But you can use a video capture card, which I got. They're cheap. There's like $8 or something like that. Plug it into the computer and use the HDMI cable from the Nikon D5000 into the computer. And I just couldn't get the settings to look good. It takes great photographs. I've taken some really good photographs with it for advertising and for putting things on social media about my hats and stuff. And yeah, I couldn't get it to look great. So I don't know. I don't use it that much. I might have to just get rid of that one on eBay too. It's a D5000. I have 2 lenses. But yeah, I don't know. Unless I'm going to keep using it to take still photographs. I used to do some of the videos for my YouTube channel with that. I used to do the videos with it. Mostly the ones that I filmed at home. I had a little camcorder that I would take to the range with me whenever I would do range videos and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't get it to work well with this. It's probably because it's an older, thing. It's 2008, something like that, I think, is when it was manufactured. Even though it's 12 megapixels, it still It's not like 4K, I guess, with its resolution, and it doesn't film in the same resolution as it can take photographs. So anyway, it didn't work out. So I went back to the Logitech cams, and I have three of them because one of them I bought off of eBay doesn't work with a shit. But it's not the seller's fault. I'm sure they tested it because it did work. It still does work, but occasionally you have to wiggle the connector and stuff to get it to show up on the thing. So I don't know. I bought a $14 other used one that was being sold, and it works fine. So that's my camera number 2. And so anyhow, the Mixcast 4. That's the new addition to the stuff today, and it just came in today. And I got a really good deal. I buy all this stuff used, by the way. Almost all of it's been bought used. The SM58 I bought new, and a couple of the other microphones that I purchased, but the Procaster that I'm using all the time now here, that was purchased used. So these boom arms, of course, I purchased new, but most everything else I have is used, as was the Mixcast 4, and it was designed to kind of compete with the Rodecaster Pro, Pro 2, and then the Rodecaster Duo, and go up against the Mackie, whatever it is, DL something, DLX, DLZ, I think it is. But Rode bought Mackie, so they're not really competing against each other. I'm sure they're not being run as two separate entities that are going to compete with each other. So Tascam just kind of jumped in the arena a couple of years ago with their version, their little thing. So someone was selling one. It was a corporation. It was purchased for that, and it was used a couple of times and then put on a shelf and ignored. So they were selling off their stuff. I got a really good deal on it. So I bought it. And the reason why I got this was because it has the onboard processing and things like that. But you can also record on board, just like the Zoom thing, but its noise floor is a little bit better. So I'm keeping the Zoom. It's over there. I'm keeping that because that still works great. It's just, has a lot of hiss in it and stuff when you crank the amps up really high. But it's still a very useful tool. So and it's smaller and portable. So that one will go with me if I'm going to go somewhere and interview someone or just do a live podcast or record a podcast somewhere with other people. I'll probably use that one. If they come here, then we'll just do it with this because it's here. This will be my home studio rig thing. But if we're going to go out, somewhere else, the Zoom PodTrack P4 will be going along, and some microphones. Haven't decided which microphones are going to travel with me if I do that, but probably not this one. This one's giant and it takes up a lot of space, so I can't. There's no convenient way to put this together in a bag or a case or something to carry it around. So it'll probably be something like SM58s or something like that, and a couple of simple microphone stands, and just go with that. So anyhow, enough about that. I decided to do a podcast tonight because I was doing nothing at home, and it's the day after Thanksgiving. Yesterday, ate too much, of course, just like everybody else. I took a nap today, which is strange for me, more or less. But it's been a very relaxing, very calm day. Didn't do a whole lot. Did some things around the house and just enjoying the day off work. It's Friday, Black Friday, so I was not going to go out anywhere to go do any shopping whatsoever. I avoid Black Friday, so that's the conspiracy we're going to talk about today. I just decided that. That's today's conspiracy, Black Friday. For those of you who never worked in retail and don't understand how retail works, Black Friday was named that because it was the beginning of the holiday season. And that's when the majority of major retailers, like, your Targets and your Walmarts and your Best Buys and, all the big box stores, let's call them, because that's what they're called. So, or, they used to call them anchor stores too. If you had anchor stores in a mall, you would have these big box stores that were attached to the mall. So that would have been like your J.C. Penney's and your Sears and things like that, which are way, way smaller than they used to be because those used to be anchor stores. And that was all back before, Walmart came through and destroyed all of the smaller businesses in the country. Same thing with Home Depot, just came through and destroyed, literally destroyed all of the smaller home improvement stores and lumber yards and stuff that were in the areas that they move into, and they do it intentionally. Walmart does the same thing. They'll move in and they'll just run people out of business. And I saw it happen here locally because Home Depot came and built stores literally right across the street from a local home improvement company that had like 10 stores in the state. And they bought the property directly across the street from these stores and built their big mega home improvement centers and drove them out of business just by undercutting their prices because the little guys don't have the same buying power. They can't match the same prices, et cetera, et cetera. But Black Friday is called Black Friday because that's when the books start to move into the black for the fiscal year, for that year. You're going to make easily about a third of all of your profit for the year during that period between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day. So that's why it's called Black Friday, because the books will go into the black. You'll be in the red. You'll be basically, losing money all year, or you won't quite be making enough to break even. And then in that small time frame during the holidays, that's when you'll make up for it. And that's when everybody's books will go into the red. And I worked in retail for a number of years. I was a corporate investigator for some corporations, and I was a district training officer for a regional training officer and a district training officer, training whatever. I was a lead detective. I was a detective. I had all these funky titles, and then I eventually was like anyway, I was a corporate director, but in the end, but those Black Friday sales and all the way in through, through New Year, because it's a trick. It's really just a trick. And they're going to run a bunch of sales, and these sales are all going to sell things at the price that they could have been selling them all year long, but they weren't. So they'll mark them, put them, oh, this is awesome sale for Black Friday. Well, you could have been selling it at that price all year, but they didn't. So they were making maximum profit off of that all year long, and then they're going to sell it for a reasonable price, the day after Thanksgiving. But there are a lot of returns that happen during this time as well, so it's kind of a a plus minus game. You know what I mean? It's like it's a balance act that they have to perform, because especially Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, is one of the busiest days of the year as well. Not for sales, but for returns. People bringing back stuff that didn't work out on Christmas Day, or maybe it didn't work. It was defective. It was broken, or they didn't like it. So they bring it back. They have the gift receipt and they return it to the store, or they exchange it for something else. So there's money to be made in that end of the transaction as well. So there's money to be made during the initial transaction, and there's money to be made on the return. So money, money, money. That's all it is. And I was in another state. It was a long time ago, but we made over, trying to think, on Black Friday, we were making like $1 million on Black Friday. Was the amount of money that was taken in. That's not what the profit was, but the store did $1 million worth of business on one day and in a 12-hour period. And those stores in that area, they were the super centers. They had everything in them. But yeah, those kind of stores in the right neighborhood can make a ton of money, and the store managers can get a huge bonus depending on how they do. Store managers at different corporations might make $100,000, $150,000 bonus at the end of the year for the performance of their stores. So your store doesn't perform, guess what? No bonus. I don't know if they all still do it, but whenever I got a bonus, it sucked because the government just took 48% of it off the bat anyway. So everybody, oh, you just got a $10,000 bonus. No, I just got like $4,900. And the government decided that it deserved the rest of it or whatever, you know. So, but anyway, yeah, it would be like they would take, no, I would get like 52 or something, 5,200, and the government would take the rest. So, you know, if you're getting small bonuses like $1,200 or something, you're like, dude, I got $700 out of that whole deal, and that's stupid. That's another conspiracy. The government just taking money just because you didn't work for it. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Capital gains tax is what I think that's what that one is called when they tax your bonuses out of the blue. Like the government did nothing for that money. You worked all year and impressed your boss, and your boss was like, "Hey, here's a $5,000 bonus." The government comes along and says, well, yeah, we're going to take about half of that because you don't need it, you don't deserve it, you didn't earn it. Yeah, that's bullshit. I shouldn't. I don't know that and the death tax, where they're going to tax your estate when you die. Those things, I cannot believe that those kind of things still go on. That's literal tyranny. That's like medieval royalty bullshit, where they're like, oh, just because you live in this part of the world and this is my realm, I'm going to come and take half of your stuff every year. And it's bad. It's bad. It's stupid. I don't understand how that continues and has continued on for so long. The death tax. I mean, there are ways around it. There are ways to avoid having to pay it. Just, leave your stuff to someone in a legitimate will or a trust or whatever. But otherwise, the government can just come and take half of your estate because you died. You didn't leave it you didn't properly leave it to an heir. I don't know. Seems stupid. Seems crooked, and probably shouldn't still be going on. But the same thing with that whole. We're going to take 48% of your bonus that you got this year. Yeah, it's just bad. So I have worked for companies that get creative and they don't call it a bonus, stuff like that, and they. But we don't have to talk about that. We don't want to talk about how companies avoid forcing you to pay taxes and stuff. But anyhow, so that's what Black Friday is all about, and it all is just a scam. It's a scam. They could be selling things at that reduced price all year long. They do get special deals because they'll buy quantity of certain things. So let's say they're going to sell mixed cast fours at Walmart. They don't sell them at Walmart, but if they were, and they only stock 3 of them, on the shelf throughout the year, and they don't keep a bunch of them. If they decide, well, we're going to buy 5,000 of them this year, and they make a deal with Tascam, and Tascam's like, we'll give them to you like 60% of what we've been selling them to you for, and then they can reduce the price and sell them at that, and they're taking a risk because they're hoping 5,000 people want to buy one, and if they've only sold 400 of them throughout the year, then that's a pretty huge risk to take, thinking that maybe 5,000 people between New Year's and Christmas will want to buy one. But it's all numbers. It's all moving things around on a board. It's not magic or anything, but it's just maximizing your profits and making the most amount of money as you can during that period, during the fourth quarter. Well, actually, I guess depending on, a lot of people have their fiscal year starts in October. So technically it would still be the first quarter because the fiscal year starts in October and then blah, 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 or whatever. But in the economic news, it's considered the fourth quarter, even though it might be the first quarter of people's, fiscal year. Confusing, I know. And nobody has decided to set something in stone and say this is what we're going to call it, because you can have your fiscal year run however you want. You can run it, on a calendar year, January to December, if you want. So I don't know. Everybody just kind of does their own thing, and I'm sure there might be some tax benefit to doing it at different times of the year and having it run from October to October instead of January to January. But I wouldn't really understand what those are. I'm not an economics guy. But there probably is some benefit to that, and that might be that it might just be for your shareholders, because if you're going to start your fiscal year in October, that's going right into the holiday season. As soon as your fiscal year starts, you're going to start off maximizing your profits for the year. You're going to start off having your busiest time of the year. So to the shareholders, your stock is going to improve at the beginning of the fiscal year, and then you'll have to see what happens near the end. But you're going to start your fiscal year off pretty good if you're a decent business and you know how to do holidays. But anyway, that's all it is. It's retail, and retail just finds interesting ways to convince you that you're saving money buying things that you weren't going to buy in the first place, which doesn't save you money. You're spending money. I don't know if you realize that. People should realize that you're not saving money because you bought this thing on sale. You're still spending money, and it's money you probably didn't need to spend in the first place. But holidays, you're going to buy gifts for people, so you can get some pretty good deals on gifts. You can, because it's something that you weren't going to buy throughout the year anyway. So that reduced price might, look attractive to you because you're like, well, I want to buy this $400 necklace for my wife or something. And, you know, you don't need to buy it in July or August or September unless, their birthday or something is in there. But Christmas time comes around and you're like, hey, I need to go buy a necklace and it's on sale for $300. So I guess in a roundabout way, you can consider that saving $100 on that item, but you really weren't going to buy that item until you noticed that it was on sale. So it cost you $300, and it's probably worth 50, something like that. So it's another thing they do. Markup, markup, markup. Your average retailer wants to maintain a minimum of a 13% profit margin on their items on average. So some items are what they call loss leaders, where they're going to lose money on purpose. They know they're going to lose money on this product, but that product is what brings people into the store. So it might be a product that everyone has to have. Let's say diapers. So and don't get me wrong, I'm just using that as an example because diapers and baby formula and all that are hugely profitable for most instances and most businesses, but let's just take it for instance. Everybody who has a baby needs diapers. So you sell diapers at a loss instead of making a profit. You can, break even with it or literally sell it for less than what it cost you. But that's going to bring people into the store because they're like, this is where I can get some really inexpensive diapers or get diapers get a good deal. I can buy more of them and everything. So that brings them into the store, and then they use that to sell you other stuff. Like they'll put things that they want to sell you in between the checkout register and the diapers, in between the front door and the diapers. They'll put the diapers all the way in the far back corner, so you have to walk through the entire store to get there, just so that you have to look at everything else along the way. And they'll put all their best deals along that route, and they'll be like, look, oh, you can also get this. Look at that. You can get this and you can get that too. Then, oh, we're going to put all this cool stuff right at the registers so that while you're standing there waiting in line, because our extraordinarily slow clerks and cashiers can't ring you out very fast. So we're going to hire the slowest people imaginable so that you have to stare at that counter display at the checkout and go, I guess I really do need 25 big lighters. Or, who doesn't need command strips to stick on the wall or something? Or, hey, look, refrigerator magnets and Snickers bars and disposable flashlights. I don't know what other things. They used to always be candy, but I think a lot of them over the years have stopped putting candy there. I don't know. They're trying to be health conscious or something, but I don't know. It used to always be candy bars and things. Even at like a Home Depot or a Lowe's. So, but that's all they're doing. It's all a game. It's all about getting your money. It's all about maximizing profits and getting as much of your money as they can get. So that's your conspiracy for the year. Black Friday. If they should just be closed. They should just be closed. There shouldn't be such a thing as Black Friday. Just close. Take the 4-day weekend. Everybody should be off. Other your necessary stores where people need to buy food and things like that or whatever, fine. But it's all just a scam. It's all just about money. Everything's about money. That's really the bottom line for everything. There's always financial aspect to everything, including conspiracy theories and including testifying before Congress that someone told you something weird. The alien in a bucket over there in the hangar story. There's always a profit motive in there. And these people are going to sell books. I mean, like a Lou Elizondo, right? Oh, he's a whistleblower. He's completely clean, and he's a respectable person. There's his motivation is just disclosure and the truth. So that's why he's selling a book. That sort of stuff. That's why they sell documentaries. That's why they make TV shows, because there's money in it, and that's what you're being sold. Their whole profiteering off of your beliefs and your hopes and your desire to have these things going on. You want to see the aliens coming down and landing in the White House lawn. They're just profiting off of that at your expense, literal expense, because you're going to go buy his book too. And you're going to buy that documentary that comes out, or you're going to sign up for that streaming system, that streaming service, because they're going to sell this documentary only to that one streaming service. So you're going to sign up for that streaming service at least for a couple of months so you can watch that documentary. And then they've got you, and then the streaming service will have you too. And it's all about money. It's all about money. But there you go. Black Friday aliens. I haven't really found a direct link between the two. Aliens and Black Friday. There should be one. There probably is one somewhere. But that's your update for today. I had nothing going on, so I just thought I would sit down here and talk, because it's Black Friday and I'm not leaving the house. So if you left the house, I hope you're fine. I hope you survived it. And I hope everybody's safe. We're starting to get a little bit of snow. I would show you, but it's dark outside because it's nighttime. And by the time I get this uploaded, it'll probably be about 10 o'clock at night. So, but it snowed a little bit today. Just kind of a dusting. It wasn't enough to amount to anything. But it's really our first snow, of any consequence. And it's not going to stick around. I mean, it's just going to melt. But and it's going to be less than an inch, I'm sure. But yeah, first snow. I think we saw a couple of flakes before a few days ago, but nothing that you would actually notice. And it's supposed to be cold for about the next week. So we might get some more. Yeah, winter is here finally, maybe. And that just means there's a lot more stuff to do, because you got to get things done before things freeze. So freezing stuff, that's my favorite. Especially if you have to go do anything in the ground, you're done because the ground freezes. And you're not going to go dig in it to do anything important anyway, unless you have a machine. I don't have one, but yeah, I hope everybody has a nice weekend. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. I hope you ate too much, and I hope you were happy and your families were healthy, and you got your family together, and talked about stupid stuff like UAP hearings and stuff like we did. Me and my son Brandon, we talked about all that stuff for Thanksgiving dinner. Everybody else was talking about something else, but Brandon and I were talking about fun stuff like aliens and UFOs, and my dad even brought up Bigfoot. Apparently, one of his neighbors is big into the Bigfoot thing. So, fun times. That's what you should do on Thanksgiving. Don't talk about serious stuff. Don't talk about politics and religion. Just talk about Bigfoot. It'll save everybody a whole lot of grief. So, enjoy yourselves. You'll probably hear from me again in a couple of days, maybe over the weekend, because I have nothing else to do. I'm going to be trapped in the house during a snowstorm or whatever. I can still record podcasts, so I'm going to do that. We'll pick a good conspiracy theory. Maybe we'll talk about what my favorite conspiracy theory is, and we'll go over all the things that I read and studied over the years about my favorite stuff. But I don't know. We probably don't have time for that show, but we can talk about something. So, hey, if you have an idea, bring it up. Put it in the comments, on the thing under the videos and stuff, or wherever you're listening to this. If you're not watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify or Spreaker or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're getting it, Audible, leave a comment or come on over here to YouTube and watch the video version and leave a comment and, ask me about a conspiracy theory. Let's talk about what you want to talk about. And I'll let you know if I already looked into it or not. And I think I want to do a show once where it's going to be a video show and I'll share the screen and I'm going to demonstrate what I do when someone brings something to me that I haven't looked into before, that I don't understand, and I'm going to research it. I'm going to go through my process of researching something initially when I'm trying to learn about it and figure it out. And I can just share the screen on there and show you what I do and how I do it, and or at least how I start, because sometimes it takes a long time to research things, but the initial push of what you're going to do when you do your initial research, when you're trying to make that initial determination about, is this easily identified as bullshit or might there be something to this, you can generally make that determination in 5 or 10 minutes. And people will say, no, you can't. Yes, you can. I do it all the time. And I'm always right. And we'll have to see if I can show you how to do it so that you'll be right too. I don't know, to me, it doesn't seem that hard, but you have to eliminate all of those biases that you already have. And that's the thing that's impossible for a lot of people to do. They can't remove those biases. So they want Bigfoot to be real. So anything that says Bigfoot is real is going to be the thing that they rely on for their information. They're not going to read a lot of the other things, or if they do read the thing that says Bigfoot isn't real, they're going to make up a reason to not believe it. It's going to be an unreliable source. Obviously, it's not. This person is not. What do they call them? It's not a cryptozoologist. How would they know that that's not Bigfoot? How would they know if that's a giant bear? That kind of thing. They're always going to find a reason to dismiss that person or that research because it doesn't align with their preconceived notions or with their biases. And everybody has to deal with that, myself included, because I'm going to be biased about, Bigfoot's bullshit. So when I do any research, I have to really look at facts. I have to really look at evidence. And I have to look at it as though I'm actually investigating a crime, which is something I did for decades. And so it's kind of second nature to me to look at things that way. So I have to do my research just like I'm just conducting an investigation of a crime that took place or a suspected crime. And you have to eliminate the impossible, as Sir Arthur Conan Doyle once wrote, probably wrote it more than once. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. So that's how you have to do your research. That's how you should be conducting your investigations. Most people do not. So maybe we'll go over something. So yeah, give me a conspiracy theory, and we'll try to find something that I've never heard of, and we'll see. We'll do a show, and I'll show you what I do and how I do it, and maybe it'll help somebody. I don't know, because it's really not complex. It's no secret. It's not. I'm not using any kind of mysterious elements or anything like that. There's nothing secret about it. It's just basic gumshoe investigative work. But, let me know. We'll have fun with that. So until next time, hey, be happy, be healthy, go find out, go read the book about Bigfoot. Go ahead. It's okay. Go read Lou Elizondo's book if you want to. Go ahead. I'm not telling you not to. Do it. You might learn something in there. You might read something in there that goes, hey, wait a minute. That sounds like bullshit. And then you might be like, I guess I'm going to write off Lou Elizondo now because that boy doesn't make any damn sense. But we'll see. Do whatever you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you you're wasting your time or whatever. Not even me, because I'm not telling you you're wasting your time. If that's something you enjoy doing, just do it. Just do it. Don't let anybody stop you from having fun. So until next time, Let me know what you want me to talk about, and give me a conspiracy theory, hopefully something that I've never heard of, or something that I've never researched because I wasn't interested in it. So let me know, and we'll do it there. All right. Take care. Here's your outro.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Really? Just Stop with your host, Ross. Make sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss a dose of some common sense.